The functional flow block diagram is another really common and very useful diagram language. So in this particular case, we've got a depiction of DNS that's happening. And so the first thing that's occurring here is shown as step one. We seem to have a PC that is sending a lookup for www.sipforum.org. So it's doing an A record lookup. So we're using the question mark to indicate a query and the A to indicate it's an A record lookup, the address record lookup. And that's going to the service provider DNS servers, DNS server. So this was a kind of recursive caching DNS server. That goes in. Step two, that server has some hints and knows where to go look for these things. And so it sends them off to the root DNS server. So it sends the same query off. The root DNS server replies with an NS record, name service record, that shows that it's hosted at ns12.eapps.com. And notice that showing us that goes back to the VoIP carrier's DNS server. So it's not going immediately back to the original PC. And then step four is that we do a DNS lookup over to that ns12.eapps.com for the same query. So in each case, we're really repeating the same query. And then finally, we get back the real answer that we were looking for, which was the A record lookup, comes back in step five, back to the DNS server. And then in step six, that query gets sent back to the PC. So this is how DNS works in the ordinary vanilla case without a lot of fancy optimizations. And this diagram shows us this in a format that lets us draw it out spatially. So it lets us represent different functions on our diagram in different places and kind of indicate, well, the ns12.eapps.com is really living over here and the root name servers live there, but there are a lot of root name servers. It gives us, we can use different formats in our key to show different kinds of arrows. But you can imagine taking this and turning this into a ladder diagram as a sequence of events. In other cases, you might not have you might not identify the exact steps. You might simply identify the connectivity between them, between the different kinds of systems here. But in this particular diagram, the steps are labeled to show us the sequence that they occur in. But this also helps us see, well, we can answer questions, for example, does the PC ever talk directly to the root DNS servers? And the answer is no, they never do talk. Does the PC ever talk directly to the eapps.com server? No, it never does actually talk directly along that path. And so the functional flow block diagram gives us another way to draw things. Here, again, we're not thinking about the essential details of the network. We're thinking of the network functions, and usually if you wanted to be more formal about it, you would think about these as being different IP addresses or services. And so each of these blocks that we're showing in the block diagram is some kind of service, usually identified by an IP address in the Internet Protocol era that we're in. And these messages that we send over are some kind of transaction, although it may not correspond to a single packet. Similarly, with a ladder diagram, we usually don't care about whether it's a single packet or not. We're really thinking about what's called application data units. We care about the block of data, the request object or the response object, typically that's necessary to do that. So the application data unit is a useful concept to think. It's a chunk of data that's a functional, useful block of data that I can send from a device to another device.